Okay, so in this video, I'm going to start off with two identities. First, we know that national savings in an open economy macroeconomic model, we're going to have that savings equals domestic investment plus net capital outflow, right? This identity here represents the market for loanable funds. So if I were to say market for loanable funds, it would be something like this, okay? Where here we have the real interest rate, right? So on the y-axis, real interest rate, and on the x-axis, the quantity of loanable funds. So now, the supply of loanable funds is going to come from savings, from national savings, okay? So it comes from the S in the identity. Remembering that national savings is comprised of both public and private savings. So savings from households plus savings from government, okay? And the demand is going to come from investment in domestic assets plus NCO, okay? So if you look at our identity, this side here represents the supply side and the right-hand side represents the demand side, okay? And at equilibrium, we have that the quantity of loanable funds supplied equals the quantity of loanable funds demanded. So this is where the market clears, okay? Now, the next one, the next identity is NX equals NCO, okay? So NX equals NCO. So we know that net exports will equal net capital outflow. This identity here is going to give us the market for foreign currency exchange, okay? Exchange, okay? And here we'll have the real interest rate, the real exchange rate, I'm sorry. And here the quantity of dollars. Okay, now the supply of dollars in this market comes from net capital outflow. The supply comes from people wanting to invest, right? So they have to go to a market and supply their dollars in order to buy foreign assets, right? So the supply comes from NCO, okay? And this is a vertical line because this NCO, we know it's independent of the real exchange rate. NCO will depend on the real interest rate, not on the real exchange rate, right? So the net capital outflow, right, what we invest in them minus what they invest in us, will depend on the real interest rate. So it's independent of the real exchange rate. It's a vertical line here, okay? And now the demand in the market for foreign currency exchange comes from net exports, right? And it's a downward sloping line, right? And at equilibrium, the quantity of dollars supplied equals the quantity of dollars demanded here. One for net exports, and the demand for net exports, and the supply comes from NCO, okay? So we look at this and the previous market, the market for loanable funds, right? We said that here, this is for the market for foreign currency exchange. And in the market for loanable funds, we have that savings equals I plus NCO. Sorry. So what they have in common is NCO, right? This is what's connecting these two markets. So the net capital outflow is what's connecting these two markets. So I can say that the market for loanable funds it's going to look like this. We have the real interest rate, and here we have a quantity of loanable funds, and we have a downward sloping and upward sloping, demand, supply. Keeping in mind demand is from I plus NCO, and the supply comes from savings, national savings, and now NCO is a downward sloping line. This is the real interest rate, and here we have NCO, and down here we have the market for foreign currency exchange. And here at the equilibrium interest rate, here, let's call this the equilibrium interest rate, that's going to tell us where we are in NCO, right? Because NCO depends on the real interest rate. And that's going to give us the supply of funds in the foreign currency exchange market, right? And here we have the real exchange rate. And here we have the quantity of dollars supplied, okay? So here we have, this is from NCO, right, the supply, and this would be from NX, the demand. And this is the equilibrium real exchange rate, okay? So now, if we have an increase in the real interest rate, there's an increase in the real interest rate, then we're going to be somewhere around here, right? Let's say. So that means that we have a new position for the real exchange rate supply, right? So an increase in the real interest rate will shift the supply, which comes from NCO, in the market for currency exchange to the left, which is going to give us an increase in the real exchange rate, okay?